Hey guys, welcome back to the Pausing Porn Podcast, the podcast that's here to support you in your healing journey from compulsive porn use. As someone that's been through the recovery journey myself, this podcast was created to give you the knowledge, tools, and support that you need to make the progress that you're looking for. I'm your host, Mark, and today we're starting something new. Once a month, I'll be answering your questions directly on all things porn recovery. This podcast is for your support, and I want to show up for you in every way that I can. I'm calling this series the Recovery Inbox. These will be shorter episodes where I take one question from one of you guys and give my honest thoughts based on lived experience and the things I've learned in recovery. My hope is that hearing someone else's question answered out loud helps you feel less alone and gives you something practical that you could take with you in your recovery experience. The first question comes from a listener who messaged me on Reddit. They commented, "I would love to hear your take on whether complete transparency in a romantic relationship is important. Should the addict tell their partner if they relapse, and why or why not?" First off, this is an amazing question, so thank you for asking it. I don't know why I didn't even think on tackling this one already. So let's not delay it any further and let's get right into it. I want to be very clear here about what I'm talking about in this episode, just to make sure I'm responsible, because of course this is a porn addiction recovery podcast. So I just want to reiterate here that when I answer this question, I'm talking about compulsive porn use. So that's watching porn, engaging in cybersex, using campsites, like anything on a screen. What this does not apply to is for those of you that struggle with compulsive sexual behavior that involves crossing physical boundaries with other people. So if you're someone that's struggling with a sex addiction, where you're getting physical with other people while you have a partner, that is a completely different situation than what I'm talking on today. And it has its own different approach, which I don't feel qualified to speak on. Because what I'm talking on is specifically porn addiction, not in-person sexual infidelity. And also, guys, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a relationship expert. I am just someone that knows a lot about porn addiction. So my answer to this question today, it's based off of personal learned experiences and my own opinion. So, should you have complete transparency, assuming complete transparency means sparing no details about your porn use with your significant other? I will say no. Complete transparency might not be the best route. This is how I see it. In a romantic relationship, transparency matters and communication matters, of course. But I do not believe that 100% transparency is healthy when you're in the middle of an active addiction, especially when it comes to something like porn. Let me explain what I mean. First and foremost, don't get me wrong. Yes, your partner deserves to know that you struggle with compulsive porn use. This should not be something that you're hiding. And I say this because compulsive porn use doesn't just affect you. Porn impacts relationships too. Even if the effects are not obvious right away, over time compulsive porn use creates distance, withdrawal, irritability, less connection, right? The list goes on. So yes, your partner should know what you're going through. They deserve that honesty. But is it beneficial to your recovery to maintain 100% transparency, sparing no details on your compulsive porn use? This is where I say no. I don't think your partner should hear every detail of every relapse every single day. The reason I say this is because that level of disclosure is not their role for your recovery. 100% transparency is something that you give an accountability partner, a therapist, or a recovery group. These are the people that can handle 100% transparency, provide support, and help you grow in your recovery. They're also people that are equipped to hear it. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that your partner should not get full transparency because we're going to start keeping secrets. That is the opposite of what I mean. You guys know my view on secrecy and how I'm completely against it. That's why I say that an accountability partner is a non-negotiable. I have only got to where I am today with an accountability partner and sharing every last detail about my porn addiction, leaving no secrets in the dark. Everyone should have an accountability partner. But if you're looking for the best experience and results, An accountability partner, therapist, and recovery group would work best for being 100% transparent with. These are the people that should hear the full details: the frequency, the urges, the triggers, the escalations, the slip ups, everything. Now you're probably thinking, okay, Mark, I get complete ongoing transparency is best with an accountability partner, therapist, or a group, but why should I not be fully transparent with my significant other? Great question. Don't worry, I have the reasons. Reason one, your partner is not meant to be your accountability partner. Your partner is emotionally invested in you, just as you are with them. They care about you, they love you, and they are directly impacted by behavior. That alone, that makes them the wrong person to be 100% transparent with, and the wrong person to be your accountability partner. Because that's what it is, right? Accountability partner, that's someone that you're 100% transparent with. And accountability, it requires someone that can hear everything that you say without feeling hurt, betrayed, anxious, insecure, re traumatized, or whatever it is. It's someone that can stay neutral, someone that is trained or at least prepared to support your recovery without it affecting the relationship. And guys, your partner simply can't do that. And experts agree on this too, because having a consistent flow of raw transparency can hurt both of you guys more than it even helps. Reason two, full transparency during active addiction can emotionally damage your partner. Imagine being in their position. Imagine your girlfriend or your wife telling you every day that she slipped, she fantasized, she acted out. And imagine she's not a casual porn user. No, like imagine if she watched porn exactly the way you do or the way you used to, right? So imagine she's watching it for multiple hours a day and watching stuff that you didn't even think she would be into. Maybe she also goes on campsites. Maybe she's buying other guys' OnlyFans. And imagine her behavior, it just seems to keep escalating. Even if you wanted to support her and you wanted the best for her and you understood what she's going through, you would feel hurt. You would feel insecure in your relationship. You would feel that you're not enough. And you would feel this way because anyone would, myself included. Research backs this up. Partners who get that consistent disclosure often develop anxiety, hypervigilance, resentment, emotional withdrawal, and trauma responses. The third reason is excessive transparency creates pressure, and pressure leads to more relapse. If you're new here, you might not have heard this before, so let me say it. More pressure does not help recovery, it hurts it. But that being said, there are many men that I see who are transparent with their partners and are met with coldness and sometimes an ultimatum. I've seen this many times when I'm reading through Reddit recoveries. Their partners find out or they become fully transparent with their partner and they're met with a threat. They said that if they go back to porn one more time, if they slip, that their wife, their girlfriend, their significant other will leave them. That is tough. It's one thing if you've been dating a girl for 3 months and she says that. Still tough. Not ideal. No one wants to go through that. But I think of the people that have been married for 10, 15 years, the people that have 3 kids together. Now that is pressure. When I hear these things happening, I feel bad because I know firsthand how pressure works. It hurts recovery. And at the end of the day, guys, we're learning to build a life without porn. You're learning to build a skill. And that skill is to get through your day-to-day life, the good and the bad, without relying on porn, without going back to porn. And just like any other skill that you are trying to build, or you have built in the past, there will be failure, there will be setbacks along the way. Experts even say that relapse is part of the healing journey. So do you think if your partner gives you that type of pressure, that ultimatum, that you will magically wake up the next day and no longer be addicted to porn? Of course not. Maybe it'll give you a bit more power for half a week, 2 weeks. You might be met with abstinence. But the only difference with that ultimatum is it causes more pressure and a relapse will be met with more shame and secrecy. You're going to hide that from yourself, from an accountability partner. Definitely not share it with your significant other. Like, instead of doing what you should, which is embracing it as a learning experience, it'll be the opposite. You'll push it away. You'll push it under the covers so you can stay safe. And my fourth reason is that your recovery team should handle the details and not your partner. Complete 100% transparency is for people that can handle discussions on urges, relapse details, shame, triggers, fantasies, escalation. It's for people that can handle the full truth. And your partner is not built to be that person. But your accountability partner, your recovery group, and your therapist, they are. These are the people that can hear anything you tell them without breaking emotionally because they're not emotionally invested in you. At the end of the day, your partner's job is to be your partner, is to be your wife, your girlfriend. But what their job is not, it's not to be your counselor, your therapist, or your recovery coach. As I said earlier, I still support transparency with your partner. Like, I think bare minimum, you should be telling what you're going through. But as I clarified, that does not mean 100% transparency. Guys, you know your partner best. You know yourself best. You guys know how much would be a healthy amount to communicate with your partner. Let's say you're early on your recovery, like I was back in 2020. I was going back to porn multiple times a day for hours every single day, and my behavior was escalating. I wasn't watching porn anymore. I was going to cam sites and engaging one-on-one with other women. I felt powerless at the time. Do you think it's a good idea if you're in the same boat as I was? Do you think it would have been a good idea for me to communicate with complete transparency to my girlfriend at the time? No. And I'll tell you from learned experience, because I tried that, it just hurt the both of us. Looking back on it, I should not have been in a relationship at the time, but that's a whole different story. But no, it did not help. It did not help my recovery journey. It did not help the relationship at all. It was just a vicious cycle. But let's say you're someone that's in your recovery journey and you're further along. You feel comfortable sitting with urges. Maybe you have some good time under your belt. You have a good support system and your partner is accepting and understanding of your experience and what you've been through. In that case, maybe it's a good idea you can share a little bit more. I'm not saying 100% transparency, maybe 75%, 60%. At the end of the day, guys, it's your recovery. You get the right to choose how much you share with anyone. But the reason why I took this question and I answered no, kind of blanket statement, is because, like I said, 100% transparency is not the role for your partner to have. I also don't think it helps your recovery when you share that with your partner. It can hurt it. That is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this new series called The Recovery Inbox, the series where I directly answer your questions on all things recovery. If you have a question that you'd like me to answer next, you can drop a comment on this podcast or message me directly on Reddit at Pausing Porn. Thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.